Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is my review for the season premiere of Big Brother 20. And of course, guys, as I have been reviewing this show for a very long time now, and I've been a little bit more unmotivated over the years, and that's understandable why. I mean, the last two seasons really have not been good at all. Big Brother 19 especially is probably the worst season I've ever seen of this show. That entire season was just full of such mean-spirited, people and just tons of negativity and just, there was just so much about that season that I really despise. Big Brother 18 wasn't really that much better, but despite that, I do still enjoy this show. I come back every year because, one, you guys really enjoy it. Two, like I said, I do really enjoy a really good season of Big Brother, and I hope every single year that we can get a really good season. And with this being the 20th season, I was really hoping that they would have something up their sleeves. Maybe something that could potentially save this show. And, obviously we did have Celebrity Big Brother. That was a fun detour from what we usually do get, but, we had to come back to the regular one. And how was this premiere? I mean, there were things here that I really did like, don't get me wrong. I do think this is a much better premiere than what we got last year. Like, this time last year, if you guys remember, I was already hating on it. I hated almost everything about last year's premiere. This is definitely much better than that. But it still was a very muddled, often very confusing premiere that just didn't really do a lot for me. But we're just getting into right now, starting off with, talking about everyone as I usually do. And here's the thing, at this point last year, I had next to nothing to say about most of the cast because they really focused more on just let's introduce the next twist and not on the cast, when I feel like here they did do somewhat of a better job. Now, I'll talk about why I'm saying somewhat in a little while, but the cast overall is very split with me. Some of them I really like, some of them I really don't like. I'll talk about the one that I actually really did like here. For me, easily the best out of everyone in this premiere was definitely Sam Bledsoe. I thought she was great in this first episode. I really enjoyed her here, and the main reason why I really enjoyed her is, obviously, going in this, I didn't really think much of her. I thought, oh, maybe she'll be fun, but I thought she was really great here, especially when it came to the DRs and things like that. One of the things, sure, the DRs can be really scripted, but there's always that one that you really just love to see, and you really just love to watch their DRs. Like, I always go back and watch Johnny Max from Big Brother 17. I'm not saying she's on that level, but similar to Johnny Mac, she goes along with everything they throw at her, and that's something I really do love about Sam. She's a very entertaining house guest. I think she's definitely going to be a lot of fun. Strategic-wise, I'm not entirely sure, but considering what happened to her at the end of this episode, I really enjoyed it. I think she's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I think definitely, out of everyone, she for sure was my favorite. Like I said, I love that she's in this for the long ride. She was a very good sport about what ended up happening to her at the end, and I thought she was definitely a lot of fun this episode. Very much enjoyed her for sure. So now let's talk about everyone else, because, like I said, besides Sam, who is really the only one I legitimately like, everyone else is very split down the middle for me. Angela Rummans, for example, let's talk about her, because going into this, I thought, okay, maybe she could be really good, and she comes in, and honestly, I already think she's made herself a target. I mean, she came in wearing, like, a crop top, and immediately that's showing that she is, very much athletic and things like that. And I think that's putting a huge target on her back because she already is a huge physical threat. People are already going to see that, and they're going to try to gun after her. So, yeah, I think she came in way too strong in this first episode. I do think she has good social skills and things like that, but I just feel like in general, I think she came in way too strong physical-wise, and unless something happens to her and she breaks her foot like Christmas, which let's hope to God that doesn't happen, because that was a very unfortunate situation with a very sort of monotonous outcome. I mean, nothing really came of that whatsoever, except for the fact that she was there until third place and she just stopped wanting to win or whatever. I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Angela, because I do like the drive that she has. Don't get me wrong. I feel like it's already making herself a target, and I'm very worried about her heading into the next week. Honestly, I don't know how this is going to play out moving forward. We'll have to see the way things do go for her, because like I said, I think she's already kind of made herself a target. Now we get to someone that I really don't like, Angie Rockstar. I mean, I don't know who this is. I really don't know how they got her or why she's on this show. This is one of the most ridiculous casting choices I've seen in a while, especially the fact that I have to, constantly refer to her as Rockstar. I just think is really dumb. She's very loud, and I mean, she does seem personable, like she's definitely good at that, but I don't know, just something about her I really don't like. I feel like she's gonna get very annoying. I was hoping that, just the hair and the glasses would just kind of be an act and she'd kind of drop it at some point, and she still very well can, but she just seems like a cartoon. Like, she doesn't really feel like a real person to me, and I'm just not really a fan of her at all. So, I don't really see her lasting that long. We'll have to see the way that she does end up going, but she seems like she's really just here for memes and things like that, and just because she can be on TV, and I'm just not really a huge fan of her. Now, this one I really did want to like, Bayleigh Denton. Now, there are things I do like about her. I think social-wise, she's playing a very good social game. She's doing what she can to try to talk to people, to form alliances and things like that, and she's doing that very well. What I don't like about her is the sort of stuck-up, snobby attitude that she is above everyone else because she was in a pageant and that she doesn't deserve these conditions. And I'm just thinking, if you're already rich, why are you here? Like, I don't really understand why she's really doing this, to be honest with you. I think she could definitely get annoying, but she could also be a really good player. It's just in this first episode, she kind of annoyed me. Thankfully, as it went on, she did drop that a bit, and I started to like her more, but still not the biggest fan of her. We'll have to see the way she does go, and yeah, so Bayleigh, I'm not entirely sure. However, these next two, I honestly already despise. I know we're only one episode in, but I can't stand either of these guys. First of all, Brett Robinson. I mean, the second this guy was introduced, I just couldn't stand him. He's one of those guys who, to me, he reminds me of those overconfident, like, jocks who think they're the shit, and he just comes off as, like, a Jace, or a Jeremy, or, say, like a Jace or a Jeremy, or, sort of like, just think of one of the very physical players that left very early on in a Big Brother season. That's Brett here. He's someone who he thinks he's this incredible genius, and I don't care that he's a hacker. I really don't. He does not know how to turn that off. He always has that, like, bro, frat, sort of persona to him, and I just really can't stand him. He acts like he's above everyone else. He's very cocky in that way, and I think, honestly, he's going to leave very early on. I think he's probably going to leave in second place. So, congratulations, Brett. You probably are going to leave very soon, and I definitely will not miss you. I was glad to see they didn't show him as much in the second half of the episode, but the first half, he really was pissing me off. Just how he kept referring to him as a bro and acting like I said, that he was just amazing and above everyone else, very similar to Bayleigh in that way, but in a more annoying way than Bayleigh. Like, Bayleigh was occasional. Brett, like, every time we cut to him, it did not seem like he knew how to turn that off, and there was, like, really nothing endearing about him whatsoever, and I just really could not stand this guy. However, as much as I couldn't stand Brett, that hate very much did wane, especially when we get to Swaggy C, because holy shit, this guy. I mean, I'm sure most of you will probably agree with me, but just the fact that we have to call him Swaggy C, once again, I think is really stupid. I think it's absolutely ridiculous that he loves to be called that way. He loves to talk about himself in third person. Everything about this guy just says you're gonna get evicted in, like, the third week of the game. He reminds me of a Devin. He reminds me of, like I said, a Jeremy, someone who is playing way too hard, way too fast. Would not be surprised if he gets the first HOH. I'm not sure if he can because of the twist or whatever, but in general, I can't stand this guy. I think he is so cocky and acts like he is just so untouchable. the weird, like, monologues he's doing, I really don't know what that's all about, and I really don't know where his head is at. Like, the decision he made at the end of this episode is incredibly questionable, and I just don't know what he's really doing in this game, and I don't really think he's going to be around very long. So, like I said, not a fan of him, but I don't think we're going to see him long. I really don't think he's going to last, honestly. But then you have someone like, say, Haleigh Broucher, who I do like. I think she's a very bubbly personality, and I think she's definitely a lot of fun. The comparisons to Aaron, oh yeah, they're definitely there. Like, I definitely do see those comparisons that people are talking about where, oh, you know, she's very, sort of spunky, and she has this, like, weird side to her. Yeah, it's definitely there, but I think she's fun, albeit pretty bland. There's just not really much to latch onto with her. But I think she could be fun. She could potentially be a threat in the game, but to me, she seems like someone who's probably going to be more of a Nicole than an Aaron, but we'll have to see where she does end up going. I don't know. I like her, but just not really much to say. JC, on the other hand, I actually really liked. I thought he was going to get annoying, but no, I actually did enjoy him here. I like how he's, you know, he's a lot smaller than everyone, but he really does use his size to his advantage, and everyone seems to really be enjoying him, and I could honestly see him going very far. Like, I know it's only the first episode, but if this guy lays low and just continues the sort of laid-back, fun attitude that he had in this episode, I think he could honestly go really far, and I'm looking forward to seeing where he does go, because I thought he was definitely a lot of fun here. Now, this one is very strange to me. Kaitlyn Herman, I don't know what she's doing here, to be honest. I think it's a cool idea that she's a life coach and things like that, but the whole thing with her reading people's auras, I think could go one of two ways. It's either going to be very endearing, where, you know, it's something where, okay, it's a mild annoyance, but she's so fun and, you know, rootable because she's not really doing a lot. She's not really getting a lot of blood over her hands that she's easy to root for. Or she's going to be extremely annoying, and just throughout the whole season is going to be like, I read their aura, and it's red, and that's not a good thing, and I just talk in this voice throughout the whole show, and just, I don't know, something about her I really am not a fan of. Look, I understand that this is her professional job. I did like at the end of the episode when she was actually seemed to be talking some game. I like seeing that, but just of what I've seen of her, she's very strange. We've really never had sort of a house guest like this before, and I'm interested in seeing where she does end up going. I mean, again, I don't know. Everyone else just kind of ranges from whatever for me. Someone like Kaycee Clark or Rachel Swindler, these are players I do think could go very far, but I'm not entirely sure. Someone I did really like, though, was Tyler. I think he's doing an awesome job in this first episode, because this is someone who he looks like your typical surfer dude, like, say, a Hayden or a David, but he's anything but that. He's actually very intelligent, and I think he's downplaying that very well, and I'm hoping that he does continue to do that, because I think he is doing a pretty good job. Winston, I thought was probably the most bland out of everyone in terms of the guys, but I still thought he was fun, and lastly, because I don't really have much to say about any of the others, like Scottie, okay, whatever, I don't really have much to say about him. He's a virgin. That's really all we know. Steve Arienta, I think, is a big fail already. I think he already is not going to go very far. He reminds me of like a Kevin or a Glenn, and he just does not fit in with this cast. You know, he's trying to be like a Derek, where he's hiding the fact that he's a cop, but lightning doesn't always strike twice, and I think especially for Steve, he's already going into some very dangerous ground, and I just don't think this is going to go very well for him. So, Steve, I don't think he's going to last, unfortunately. I don't think he's doing the whole I'm not a cop thing. I don't really think he's handling that well at all. I think it's fairly obvious that he's a cop, and if anyone hasn't guessed it, I'm very surprised. I would be very surprised if someone doesn't figure it out very soon, because like I said, he's not really doing a great job. Like I said, the cast as a whole just ranges from, you know, good to, you know, possibly good, but also not that great. I mean, it's a very mixed cast overall, and I'm interested in seeing really where they do end up going throughout the season. So now I do want to get into my initial thoughts on the episode overall, because like I said, this was definitely a much better premiere than what we got in Big Brother 19. It was a lot more focused, you know, we did get a chance to know the house guests a little bit more. It wasn't just focused on, let's introduce anyone. Like, first of all, things I really did like, because this whole episode for me was, you know, just like the cast, there are things I like and things I don't like. Things I liked right off the bat. No returnees. Great. I love that. I'm so happy that there are no returnees this season. Look, I'm all for, you know, an all-star season or something like that, but they've proven that they don't know how to do them anymore, especially in, you know, last season with Paul getting all the power. I was very happy to see that there were no returnees, and I'm hoping it stays away. I'm hoping there's no twist, like, late in the season where they introduce someone. I'm glad they didn't do that. The fact that no one was evicted, I was also very happy about. I think it is completely unfair to any house guest to have to walk in and basically be a revolving door. Like, you're basically just there to replace someone, and I was glad to see they didn't do that this season, because they easily could have, and I think they've finally realized that we as fans don't like that, and I'm glad that they dropped that, because I don't really think anyone should have got, like, they could have easily done that to Kaycee because of her punishment or whatever, but I was glad to see they didn't do that. I'm glad to see that everyone, you know, is still around after the first episode, because someone like Cameron, I think, could have actually gone very far last season if it hadn't been for Paul replacing him, and I'm glad to see that that did not happen this season. So definitely, that's something that is definitely an A+, that's definitely a plus in my book for sure. So that's something I really enjoyed. I also enjoy, like I said, it's entirely new cast. I think that's really great. And I did like that this 2 hours was filled with a lot of getting to know, you know, these people and things like that. And I definitely did enjoy that for sure. Things I didn't like, on the other hand, is that while I do think they did a good job with giving these, you know, characters more to do, as opposed to Big Brother 19, where it felt like they were basically just background for Paul, pretty much, aside from, like, a couple other characters here and there. This episode was still very over-reliant on competitions, and I think there were definitely too many of them. Like, right off the bat, the whole thing where Swaggy you know, someone got this thing and they got to save, like, 8 of them, automatically, it just decreases tension, because you know that these people are safe, so you're really not worried for them. You know that they're not going to win HOH. You know that it's really not going to matter if they win HOH, and this automatically gets people not as interested in becoming HOH. Now, this is a good thing for some, for the ones that want to downplay this, but for the ones that that don't really care about the game, because let's face it, there are players like that every single season. I think it really is kind of a hindrance to them, and I'm not a huge fan of the way they did that. I will say, I think they incorporated the futuristic setting actually very well. I thought there were some really clever things they did with it, and I definitely really enjoyed that, particularly the robot, because on paper, it sounds really dumb. Like, someone turns into a robot. Yeah, it's really dumb, but it happened to the right person, and that being Sam, who, like I said, that's what I was alluding to when I said she was very graceful with it. I love the fact that she just bought into the idea that she was a robot and that she had all these limitations. And what I like about it is that it actually not only is a very creative idea, but it actually is a bit of a hindrance on her social game, because the fact that she's going to be in this robot costume and she can't compete as much, people definitely are not going to want to strike some alliance with her or anything, because why would they want to talk to someone who's a robot? So yeah, it does put her at a disadvantage, and that's something I do like. I'm interested in seeing if she's going to be able to overcome this, and already I'm very much rooting for Sam in that way, because you want her to overcome this. You want her to, you know, be able to get that social game down, but it's a bit more difficult for her, and I do like seeing her struggle with that. Kaycee, on the other hand, I don't really know how this one works. I mean, there's some things that are cool, like the fact that she has to stay in a room, and if there's a conversation, she can't go with them. Again, that is a hindrance on her social game, and I think that definitely is an improvement. Big Brother often will just put in these twists for, like, ratings and things like that, and I'm glad to see they did not do that here. I'm glad to see that this actually, like I said, was an advantage, you know, what did actually have some impact on the social game, and not so much on the game overall. Like, they did enough in this episode where they had some twists that might manipulate it enough, but it still felt like Big Brother. Like last season, that did not feel like Big Brother. It felt more like a Survivor season, or even in the first episode, it felt like The Bachelor, honestly. You know, this season, this feels like Big Brother. Like, this is the Big Brother I know. It feels very back to basics, and I very much do enjoy that. On the flip side, though, it doesn't, because, like I said, they're very focused on competitions, and that's just never been my favorite part of Big Brother. I think most people will agree that is the most boring part of Big Brother, because, you know, in the end of it all, you don't really remember them. You don't really take much away except, oh, this person won. What you care about is seeing alliances being you know, seeing people strike up alliances and seeing people, you know, start to target others and throw people under the bus. Like, that's really what we want to see. We don't want to see all these physical competitions, and I think there was a little too much of that in this 2-hour episode. And in fact, I don't think this episode really needed to be 2 hours because, like I said, there just really wasn't a lot to these people. Maybe there is stuff that we're not seeing yet, but a lot of them were fairly bland to me, and I don't really think we needed the 2 hours. Like, in Big Brother 18, they fulfilled that runtime. As much as I didn't like that season, they did fulfill the runtime very well for 2 hours, and it worked very well. Big Brother 19 was just a clusterfuck, everything about that premiere. This season, it just felt a little too long. Like, I don't think it needed to be 2 hours. I think they definitely could have cut it down a bit, and, you know, I would have been fine with that. Also, the Big Brother, I don't know what this thing is, but the Big Brother App Store thing they're doing, I don't know what this is. I don't know why every single season we need to have some sort of audience involvement. It always goes terribly. It just makes it seem rigged, and I don't know why they keep doing this. Like, I'm frankly don't care at this point. Like, it's too early in the game for me to pick a favorite. Sam would be the one I probably would pick to award a prize to, but I don't really even understand how it works. Julie didn't really explain it that well, honestly, so I don't really know how this is going to go. We'll have to see. I mean, I'm always on board for, you know, twists and things like that, but I've never really liked the whole, you know, audience gets to decide what happens to this house guest. Like, I feel like we should not have any influence on their decisions whatsoever. It should be very much their game, and I feel like we shouldn't have to come in to manipulate and, you know, compensate them and things like that, and we do that way too often in the show, and I just really wish, because of the 20th season, that they wouldn't do that. You would think because the 20th season they would throw some things in there, but they just really don't. Also, yes, I'm gonna say it, the fact that we didn't get, you know, there were so many returnees in the audience, and the fact that we didn't get at least one of them talking about this season potentially and seeing what they've been through, considering how long it was, I think it actually would have been really cool. Like, you could have had one of them, like, talk to the house guests or something like that, or give them a pep talk. Like, I really do want to see more stuff with that, because it is a 20th season. I'd love to see them incorporate the returnees and things. Like, do what you do with Big Brother Over the Top, where occasionally you'll have someone host competition. Not Paul, anything but Paul. I'd rather not have Paul on the screen. They showed Paul for like a second, and I was reminded how terrible last season was. But thankfully they cut away after that. But anyone else but him, I would love to see host a competition. I think it'd just be really great, and especially, like I said, in the 20th season, I'm very excited to see them do that. So yeah, that is definitely something I really enjoyed. In terms of what went down in this episode, like I said, I think Swaggy C is just playing a horrible game right now. I don't really understand where his head is at. Bayleigh, it was absolutely the person he should have saved. Like, she was the person who wanted to be on his side and wanted to work with him. And I don't know why he picked Angela. He knew Angela was going to come after him, so I guess I can see where his head is at there. But she even said that he kind of screwed himself over, which I don't really understand how he did that. Like, how did he really fuck himself over in that way? I don't really get that, but I mean, I get it in the sense that they think Bayleigh's gonna stay around and maybe she's gonna go after him, but other than that, I don't really see how he screwed himself over that much. I just don't really know where his head is at, and that's really the case with a lot of these house guests. But again, it is the first episode. They're all still getting to know each other, so I'm not going to get on them too much, but Swaggy C, I absolutely will, because he just seems very overconfident and very full of himself, and I just don't really think he cares very much about his decision-making. He just really is there for himself, and to me, it just doesn't really seem like he knows what he's doing. So, yeah, that was definitely a problem. But like I said, in terms of the players, this is definitely a much more likable cast than what we got last season. Last season, at this point, I really wasn't latching on to anyone. And at least this season, there were a few takeaways in this first episode, and that's something I definitely really did enjoy. And like I said, I thought they incorporated the future stuff very well. I definitely really did enjoy that. Overall, guys, this was an alright premiere. It wasn't amazing or anything. It wasn't really, but it wasn't bad either. I will definitely take it over last year's. I think it definitely is a step in the right direction, but at the same time, it just didn't do a lot for me. And you know what? That's fine. I'm still going to watch this season. I'm interested in seeing the way it does play out. I'm hoping that things could go really well. There's a part of me that feels like, okay, this is really good. Maybe this could turn out to be a very good season. Or it could go down south fast. I mean, you really just don't know with the Big Brother season anymore. I'm cautiously optimistic because I think there's enough stuff in there that this is going to feel much more like a Big Brother season than the past 2 seasons really have. If not, at least we had Celebrity Big Brother. We'll have to see really where we can go this season because, like I said, if they focus more on the cast, make it more of a character-driven type season, less on, let's just throw all these twists, you know, in the game, I think it'll be a much better season. Big Brother 17, the reason I love that season so much is because that was a season where the cast was so good they didn't need a twist, and I'm hoping that's the case for this season. I'm hoping that I do eventually latch on to these people, but again, in a season where we have to refer to characters as Rockstar and you know, Swaggy C without laughing, and we actually have to take them seriously, I think is a bit dumb. I'm hoping that I do find something endearing about them, but we'll just have to see the way that does go. But either way, guys, that's it for my review. Hope you guys enjoy. Like I said, I enjoyed it overall. Very mixed on it for the most part, but it is definitely much more enjoyable than other seasons in the past for sure. I'm interested in seeing where it does end up going from here. I will be reviewing episode 2 probably tonight. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to see the way that does go, but that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys thought this from me overall. Left your thoughts, and sorry I really didn't have a lot to say. Like I said, there just wasn't really much of a takeaway. Like, there were things I enjoyed. The things I enjoyed I really liked. The things that I didn't really like I talked about. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.